welcome to the Resin Ranger channel, Create Your Own, where it's all about making stuff and keeping busy. So when I was a kid, we used to watch these old movies on TV, and one show in particular was on CBS Detroit from Southfield, and it was called The Ghoul, which was hosted by Detroit legend Ron Swede, and ran from 76 to 78, and featured horror films along with slapstick human comedy and juvenile hijinks. Another favorite was Sir Graves Ghastly with Lawson Deming, who would introduce himself rising out of a coffin and featured the classic laugh sound or something like that. So, yeah, really cool shows. Okay, so another huge influence for me for doing this was a guy named David Fisher, who I met at a convention called Wonderfest in Louisville, Kentucky many years ago. Extremely talented, and I've always loved his work. Check out Amazing Figure Modeler magazine and their website. So the look I was going for here is kind of like a puppet theater kind of thing with these little horror movie characters. So let's get right into it. The file was downloaded from a website called My Mini Factory, and the talented Amadou Aldevert, I hope I pronounced that correctly, sorry if I didn't, from Barcelona, he created these files, and I downloaded them from the website and printed them on my Frozen Sonic Mini 4K. So we'll just jump right into the painting process here, and I wish I could have left everything intact, but there's literally hours and hours and hours of painting, and each character has anywhere from 4 to 6 hours of painting just each individual piece, so there's no way I could incorporate all of it. So I've just kind of put in some highlights here. I started with a little bit of airbrushing, basic colors, get my basic foundation down, and then from there I basically just do a lot of dry brushing, and it's just layers upon layers upon layers, and followed by the dry brushing are layers of different washes, and then I'll come back in and hit the higher parts as well, like hit the highlights again with softer tones. And basically I just kind of keep working at it and getting the colors in there the way I want them, blended properly. I like to use MIG paints, and also I'm very fond of this new product. I don't know if it's new, but it's new to me. So it's by the Army painter, and they're called Quickshade. You can find these on Amazon. I'll post a link down below. They're great. Like, you don't need to really dilute them or anything, but the nice thing about it is once you get the paint down on your piece, you can really start to move it around with just a little bit of alcohol. I just use 50% alcohol that you can buy at the drugstore. It's cheap and it's better than water, I find. So that's the basic painting process. And you can see what's happening here with the Frankenstein, where I've gone in over top of the base colors and just did a bunch of dry brushing, just different layers of green, and then some yellow, and then some morbid colors, like to kind of bring out the death tones and whatnot. So I'm just gonna let the video play with me painting, and I'll just kind of touch on different things as we go along, and because I can't just it's just like I said, I had to cut so much of it out, but hopefully you get the gist of how I achieved the look that I was going for. So going back to this whole puppet theater thing, like I really wanted it to make it look old, like it was an old toy or something like that. So, and while the painting is going on here, I just want to touch on one more thing regarding the download of the files. Now, anytime you go to any of these websites where artists are featuring their works, like their files, just make sure that you pay close attention to the licensing that's in place with these types of files, because there's commercial licensing in place. So just please abide by that, and you may want to make sure that the artist is compensated properly. So purchase the files from sites that are approved of. Like My Mini Factory is a great site. There's all kinds of different files on there for all sorts of different things you can download, print, and paint. You can see here with the Frankenstein how I put the eyes in white, and then what I'm going to do is I just use a fine point Sharpie to outline the area where the pupil is, and it works pretty good. So 3D files, again, like I mentioned, just make sure that you purchase from a reputable site, and then that way the artist is compensated properly, because that's really the main thing. Like these models and files and whatnot, they're pretty cool, but just don't buy stuff that's been ripped off from somewhere else, because that's not cool. Okay, so same process. I imported the files into my program called Chitubox. I'm just gonna talk over top of the painting, because that way I didn't have time to include all the 3D stuff. But it's in some of my other videos from before. If you want to watch those, I go through it a little bit. So Chitubox is the program that supports files that will be printed on my Frozen printer. So it's a Frozen Sonic Mini 4K, and it uses liquid resin to print and UV light for curing. So same idea, add supports if you need to. Some of these pieces come pre-supported, which is really cool, and I don't really fuss with it a lot. I find that I've had pretty good success. I do know how to add supports where and when I need to, so it is something you need to learn. It's a bit of a curve, but it's pretty easy to follow and get along. So another thing to keep in mind, each one of these pieces, each one of these busts took anywhere from 6 to 8 hours to print, just one. So there's 4 here, so we're talking like over 24 to 25 hours worth of printing alone. So same process. When it's done, they're removed from the build plate, cleaned with 99% isopropyl alcohol, and then you're ready to paint. So I'm gonna play a little bit of music here, and we'll finish some painting. And if you have any comments, fire away.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait.
Bring the funk back.
Okay, so we're down to the mummy here, and you can see here where I've added. It started with pure black, like a satin black, and then added some brown, added some lighter brown, added some mustard color, went in with some different shades of gray. Now I'm adding some washes from the Army Painter Quickshade line. These things are great, like I said again before. Great product. And just doing a little bit more dry brushing with the high points. And you can see here again where I'm using a paint pen marker to put in the eyeballs. And I just find this works really good. I have a lot more control over it this way.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait.
Bring the funk back. It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait. Bring the funk back.
Okay, so just getting down to the end of the painting here. And also, please let me know if you think this is too long. Like, I can shorten it a lot more, but I think it's kind of fun to watch. It's kind of like a Bob Ross thing for me, but, you know, if it's not your thing, you know, let me know. I can always shorten it if I'm doing another painting project or whatever. And again, this is all new to me, so this whole video editing thing and whatnot is all new for me. But so you see here where I used on the vampire, I used the Dracula guy. I used some of that purple shading around the eyes. There's purple and there's red in there, and I used some red on his cape, which I think adds a little bit of class to his costume or his getup. And then I'm just touching the highlights here again with some white and gray, different shades of gray and white. So the painting's done. All the busts got a coat of satin sheen. Now you can see this paper here. This is going to be for the background in the little theater that I'm going to build. So I just created this design in my Adobe Spark program, where I just added different pictures I found on Pinterest, and then I adjusted the composition of it, like so they looked kind of like, you know, old Hollywood horror kind of thing. And then I got this old frame that I had to cut down, so you can see the line at the top where I cut it, because it was too square, so I wanted it more like a rectangle, so you can see where I did that. So in the previous frame, you can see the frame is like dark brown, so I sanded it all down. It's nice and smooth because I want to paint it black. And then I took a piece of 2-inch black ABS pipe that I cut, and then I cut a hole into the frame that I could mount the pipe into, and I'm using some Aves epoxy. It's just a 2-part epoxy, blend equal amounts together, and then I used that to fill in that space underneath the pipe where I had a little bit of a gap. So now I'm going to build the internal structure of the puppet theater, or whatever you want to call it. So it's just a piece of cardboard that I'm going to glue my background to, and then you can see on the front part where I need to build like a stage sort of, and I added some glue to the black ABS pipe to hold in place. So I got some strips of cardboard cut, and I'm just adding those by using some hot glue, and they're just going to be mounted around the background frame there. So here's another little thing I did in my Adobe Spark program. I just made this little classic monster. I just wanted to make a little sign to put at the top of the theater. So I just printed that off. I mounted it to some cardboard. I used some bamboo strip that I had and just glued that on there with hot glue. And then I'm just going to paint it with some different colored paints and washes. So here's a little breakdown of how I made the stage. It's just layers of cardboard that I cut, and pieces of balsa wood that are all just glued together with hot glue. And then I'm going to paint that with some dark brown spray paint, and then the frame sits over top of that, and I'll have a little stage to mount my busts to once I'm finished painting. And then the stiff cardboard in the back allows me to gives me a nice rigid backboard to keep everything together. So now you can see the background's been added and everything's been painted, and I'm going to check out the lights next. So these lights are just the lights that I'm going to put in here. They're just lights that I bought at the dollar store that you can get. They're just little mini LED string lights that come on a thin wire, and they take 3 AA batteries. Comes in a little case with a switch, so there's no, you don't really have to put a lot of thought into it. So I wound some of the lights down inside the ABS pipe because I want to be able to light the steam gauge that's going to go in the front. And then I put the rest of the lights around the inside of the frame, and I mounted them using some adhesive foil tape. So the foil tape holds the lights down, and also is good for reflection. So the lights are basically mounted to the sides, and that way the light will come in like off stage, if you will.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait.
Okay, so here we go. Here's my little classic monster puppet theater. I'm going to use this Resin product, which is for wood aging, and I just added some little square pieces of balsa wood in each corner that I'm going to coat with this Resin product. And the reason I put those little squares there is because this frame has basically been flipped upside down and there was marks there, so this way I can hide them. Okay, it's glamour shot time, so sit back and relax. Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. You know the drill. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with this particular project because I haven't really had time to paint anything like that for a long time, and I found it really rewarding. So hope you liked it. If you're looking for cool shirts, this is one of my new cool shirts. It's up in my store, resinranger.com. You'll find it under the higher education portal. So you got the Falcon here, Falcon Flight School. If you know what's going on here, you get it. So it's kind of like got that Top Gun feel, the Top Gun font and in the wings, So anyhow, cool shirts, resinranger.com. Check out the other videos on the channel if you got time, if you're interested. I'm working on episode 4, so it'll be coming up next. This is the end of episode 3. And I really appreciate everyone stopping by. Appreciate any comments if you have any. Throw them down there. And we'll see you next time.